Today we are going to be going over a variety of graphs that you'll be able to use for your survey project. So we're going to be learning about bar graphs, histograms, and stem and leaf plots. So this first example is going to be a bar graph, which you guys should be most familiar with. So we're going to use the data in the table to create a bar graph. So in our table over here, we have that it says ages of cousins, so that's going to be the title of our graph. So we're going to put ages of cousins at the top, okay? Because every graph should have a title and then labels, and then the names of the cousins are going to go at the bottom. So I'd put names there, and then age or ages over on the left, okay? So then we'll have Sharon first, which I'm going to abbreviate all of these. So let's do, I don't even know, we'll just do S for Sharon. And then Austin we'll do AU. And then Aiden we'll do AI. And then Sean SH. And then Elise with an E. Okay. And so I can see that my biggest number is 8 over here. So my graph has to go up to at least 8. So I'm going to do 0, and we'll do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 8 will go all the way to the top. So when we're thinking a bar graph, whatever age they are is where the bar is going to go. So Sharon is 3, so we're going to go up to 3 like that. Austin is 4. So his is going to go up a little bit more to 4. Notice how they're not touching. Okay, they should not touch. That's the difference between, or that's what a histogram is. Aiden is 8, so that's going to go all the way up to the top. Sean is 7. We'll make that go up to 7. And then Elise is 5, so that'll go there. And so there's our bar graph. Okay. So like I said, this is one that you should be familiar with. You should know from elementary school. And then histograms and stem and leaf plots may be the newer ones that you haven't learned yet. So a histogram is a type of bar graph that shows the frequency of data values in intervals of the same size. So that's the most important thing you want to remember, is intervals of the same size. So if you look over at the graph or the histogram that it gives you, it says CDs owned. Some differences between the bar graph and a histogram is that that bars touch on the histograms. They're all touching. There's no space in between them. And then the other difference is that it's not just 0, 1, 2, 3 down at the bottom. They're in intervals. So this first one is showing 0 to 9 CDs, then 10 to 19 CDs, 20 to 29, and then 30 to 39. So it's an interval. So we don't know the exact number that someone has. We just know that it's somewhere between 0 and 9 and so forth. So in this example, the frequency table shows the number of laps that people in a swimming class completed today. Display the data in a histogram. So I'm going to just title it laps, okay, or swimming class, whatever you want to label it. And then at the bottom, we're going to have number of laps. And to the left, it's going to be frequency, because we want to know how many people did those number of laps. Okay. So our first interval will be 1 to 3. And then we'll have 4 to 6, 7 to 9, 10 to 12, and then 13 to 15. I want you to notice that there's 3 numbers in each category. So there's 1, 2, and 3 in the first one, 4, 5, 6 in the next, 7, 8, 9 in the next, and so on. So that's what it means by intervals of the same size. That means there needs to be the same amount of numbers in each interval. Okay. So now our frequency needs to go up to 11. And so since we don't have much room, I'm going to just go up by 2s. So I'm going to start with 0, and then 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. And I don't need to go up anymore because I know my biggest number is 11. And I expect when you do these when you make your graph for your survey project, I expect yours to be a lot neater than this and for you to use an actual ruler and make it look nice. So for 1 to 3 laps, there were 11 people. So we're going to go up between 10 and 12 like that. I'm going to make it a little bit wider like that. Okay. And then for 4 to 6 laps, there were 4 people. Remember, these ones should touch. Okay, there should be no space in between them. For 7 to 9, there's 0. So there's going to be a big gap there because we don't graph any of that. Because there was no one that did 7 to 9 laps. And then 10 to 12, there's 3 of them. So that needs to go a little bit below the 4 to 6. And then 13 to 15, there's 6 of them. So it needs to go up to 6, so it would look like that. And that's our histogram. Next, so this time we have to actually create the frequency table. So up here, this was the frequency table of it telling you the number of lap intervals and then the frequency. Well, we have to actually create our own. So it gives us the bags of popcorn sold each day. So I need to find all of the numbers that are between 30 and 39, and I'm going to do tallies in the frequency table. So the numbers that are between 30 to 39, there's just one of them. And so I'm going to put a tally mark for 1. And then 40 to 49, there are 0. So I don't put any. And then 50 to 59, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 of them. And then 50 to, wrong column. There we go. And then 60 to 69, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of them. So make 7 tally marks. And then for the frequency, it just wants to know how many tally marks do we have. So there's 1 for 30 to 39, 0 for 40 to 49, 4 for 50 to 59, and then 7 for 60 to 69. So our frequency table is done. And now we need to create our histogram. So I'm going to title it popcorn. And then over on the left, it's always going to be frequency. While our x-axis should be bags of popcorn sold each day. Okay, that's our x and our y-axis and our title for our graph. So now we need to put our intervals on the bottom. So we have 30 to 39, 40 to 49, 50 to 59, and then 60 to 69. And then on the left for the frequency, it needs to go up to 7. So I'm going to start with 0, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So keep in mind, when you do your frequencies, you can go up by any number you want. If you want to go by 2s, 3s, 5s, 10s, whatever's easiest for you should be what you would do. So for 30 to 39, there was just 1 bag of popcorn sold. Or one day, there was 30 to 39 bags sold. And so we're going to go up to 1, and it will look like that. And then 40 to 49, there's 0. So I don't do anything with that one. And then 50 to 59, there's 4 of them. And then 60 to 69, there's 7. So I go all the way up to the 7. And it would look something like that. Alright, flip your page over. And now we're going to learn about stem and leaf plots. So a stem and leaf plot displays data by breaking each data point into 2 parts, the stem and the leaf. So we have this example up here. So the stem is basically like the tens place, and the leaf is the ones. This is just another way to show data that people prefer and make it look a little nicer. But so let's look at this 15 and 16, okay? The stem is the 1 right here, and the leaves are the 5 and the 6. But that 5 and 6 doesn't represent 5 and 6. It represents 15 and 16. That's what the 1 is for. And so this would be 21, 23, 23, 26, 26, 30, 32, and 41. Those are the numbers of the stem and leaf plot. So this takes a little bit of getting used to, but once you get the hang of it, it is very simple. So on this first example, we're going to create our stem and leaf plot using the data below. So I can see right away that I have a 5, a 5, a 4, and a 4. And so we would put a 0 in front, and then we would put a 0 would be the stem, and then the leaf would be 4, 4, and 5. You want to make sure there's a space between them so that you know what the number is, so that you know it's not 445 or 44, that they're each individual, and it's 4, 4, and 5. So I'm going to cross those off because I know I'm done with them. And then next, so I see I have, oh, I forgot the 7. And 7, sorry. So then now I can see I have 12, 17, and 13. So those start with a 1. So our stem is going to be a 1. And I'm going to put them in order from least to greatest. So I would do 2 for 12, 3 for 13, and 7 for 17. And I can cross those off. And look at how I am keeping them in line. So the 4 and the 2 are top of each other. The 4 and the 3, the 5 and the 7, they're all aligned. Make it look nice and neat so it's easier to read. Next, I have 24, 22, and 25. So my stem is going to be 2. And then the leaf, I'm going to have 2 for 22, 4 for 24, and 5 for 25. And I'll cross those off. And then we have 30 and 31. So I'm going to have my 3. And the 30, to represent that, I put a 0. And for 31, I put a 1. You always got to put them in order. And then the last one is 48. And so I put a 4 and an 8. I'm going to draw that. And so my stem and leaf plot would look just like that. So remember, this is also one of the graphs you can use for your survey project if this is one that's looking appealing to you. Last one. So on this one, we have to create the stem and leaf plot from scratch. So just like the one above, we're going to draw a line straight down, draw a line like a T-chart. Usually the leaf portion is a little bit longer than the stem because the stem is usually just 1 or 2 numbers, while the leaf is multiple. So now, as I go through these, I want to find my smallest number, which it looks like is 73. And so that means I'm going to put a 7. I'm going to start with a 7. Okay. And then I also see that I have some 8s, 9s, and 10s. So I'm going to put them all just so I know what I have. And yes, 10 does go there because that 10 is still going to represent 100. And then since it's 101, the 1 would go on the leaf. So the leaf is always just the 1 spot. Okay. So then with my 7s, I have a 75, a 78, and a 73. So I'm going to have 3, 5, and 8. Standing for 73, 75, and 78. And then my 8s, I have 87, 82, 86, and 82. So I have 2 82s, so I just put it twice. So 2 and 2, and then 86 and 87, so put a 6, and then a 7. Make sure you're leaving space so you don't get them confused. Oh my gosh, I forgot the 0 on 80. Okay, so we got to move these over. Sorry, hopefully you caught that and you're like, what the heck is she doing? It's twice I've messed up. Okay, and there's a 9. 89. Okay, so there should be 6 numbers with the 8. Hopefully you worked a little bit ahead and caught that. Okay, so then the last thing are the 9s, and so we have a 91, so I'll put a 1, a 93, and then a 95, so I put the 5. And I'm going to erase these just to make sure that I counted, because now I'm second guessing myself. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay, perfect. I got all the numbers, I promise. Sorry about that. Okay, so that would be our stem and leaf plot. So to review, we learned about bar graphs, histograms, and stem and leaf plots today. And a few classes ago, you learned about dot plots, so that's also an option. And if you wanted to do something more advanced, you could do a pie chart or a box and whisker plot, which we haven't gone over, but I can help you with if you do know about it. And so let me know if you have questions.